There's a shortcut in business that no one talks about. It can help you to learn from people you admire for free, while at the same time helping you grow your audience. Last year, I was able to meet with Justin Welsh, Kagan, Tim Soulo, and many other inspiring entrepreneurs by using this very simple strategy, launching a podcast. And since most of the guests I received on my podcast shared their episodes with their audience, I was able to grow my audience by thousands of followers. And eventually, this helped me grow my business to $20 million in annual recurring revenue in less than 5 years. In this video, I want to show you the exact process I used. So how exactly did I convince people to come on my podcast? Well, I used this one email template. But before I explain to you in details how you can interview all your dream celebrities on your podcast, let me share with you one mistake you must avoid at all costs. Believe that influence is an elevator. Let me explain. When people think of influence as an elevator, they believe that by pressing one button, they're going to reach the highest sphere of influence. The reality is that if you're just starting in business and you have no audience, you will never get Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, or Bill Gates on your podcast, because influence is like a staircase. And basically, each step is a new influence stage. The first step is basically people who don't have a big audience yet, hence not that much influence. As you go up the stairs, you'll find people with more and more influence because they have bigger and bigger audiences or business. And at the highest step of the stairs, you have the most successful people out there. So if you expect an answer, you need to target people who are more or less at the same stage of influence as you. So now I'm going to show you the email I used to convince a founder like Kagan to come on my podcast. First things first, the subject line, special invitation. Whenever you receive an email where the subject line is called special invitation, you're wondering two things. One, why is that invitation so special? And second, what's the invitation about? So the first goal of the subject line is to trigger curiosity, and that worked extremely well with such subject line. But why does the email work so well? Because I used the value equation framework. Essentially, the value people find in your offer can be determined by the dream outcome, meaning what you offer, times the trust you build with them, divided by the effort it will take to achieve the dream outcome. Here, what's super important is you want the dream outcome to be as big as possible, the trust to be as big as possible, and the effort it takes to be as small as possible. That way, the offer becomes even more irresistible. The dream outcome has been shared by answering the question, what's in it for you? Here, I talk about visibility. Episode will be distributed across our social media profiles. Then each episode will be promoted in our newsletter, and also a good opportunity to give back and inspire our community of 17,000 entrepreneurs, sales, and marketers worldwide. The goal here is to make the dream outcome as attracting as possible. Then I made sure to build trust using what I call the trust triangle. So the trust triangle is divided into three different parts. First, you have the emotional connection, then you have the credibility, and then you have the reliability. So how exactly do you do that by email? So I created an emotional connection by showing the research I did on him and highlighting similarities between our companies. Here I said, I recently mentioned AppSumo and the launch we did with Lemlist a few years ago to my team during our weekly meeting. Hope everything is going well for you. The fact that we had a connection in common made this a lot easier, obviously. Then I showed that I was reliable by mentioning other successful founders who were on my podcast before. So this is called social proof, essentially. So far, we've interviewed incredible people like Tim Soulo, Nathan Barry, Martha Bitar, etc. Then there is the ask. I'm asking and being really upfront about what I want. I'd be honored to have you on the show. I'm sure your story on how you bootstrap AppSumo to $90 million in revenue would inspire a lot of founders. And finally, there is a part where I want to demonstrate my credibility. And what I do here is adding even more social proof. And the social proof was added by the what's in it for you part. Because inside the what's in it for you, you essentially demonstrate that you have a big enough audience and that for him is going to be able to get something out of it. If you ask someone for something and can't give them anything in return, the likelihood for them to accept is going to decrease a lot. It's not impossible because some people do it out of generosity, but most of the time it's always better to give something back to the person. That way you increase tremendously the value of what you offered. And finally, I showed him that the effort it would take to reach the dream outcome was minimal, a 1-hour call with me. And then I reiterated this process for every single founder I wanted to invite to my podcast. Using this strategy will help you grow your audience by thousands of people, which you'll be able to turn into customers down the line. And if you want to learn how to turn your audience into customers, I've created a couple of videos on the subject. Remember, if you know how to build trust, then and only then you'll be able to ask something from people. I hope this video was helpful to you. Have an awesome day. Peace, love, and profits.